Well, hello everybody, it's Danny and Wanda back from Pecan Grove this morning. We are over at the new property, and guys, we went to look at our taters out there in the cooler, and well, they began to sprout. We had to warm the cooler up for our sweet potatoes, and when we did, these potatoes began to sprout. Now these are French fingerlings and purple majesties. I've got the cultivator on the back of the tractor now to make us some potato rows up. I think we're only going to do one row at a time because I don't know how many taters we got.
And it definitely ain't this many.
Oh, Lord, no. Not that many. We don't eat that many taters. Even though we're going to be blessing some more families with this, we've taken that as a new initiative this year, is to be a blessing to others. Because we have more land now, we can do more for someone else. And our stores here told us it would be another 2 weeks before they got the regular potatoes in, like we grow here, the red Lesotas and red Pontiacs. So we're going to just make one row at a time until we run out of what we have, and then we will get more potatoes for whatever we have left. So that's kind of our plan at this moment. Okay guys, a little history on what's going on here. As what you're looking at back in here, all these pine trees you see in the background, this was once upon a time when I was younger. I would come over here. This was a cornfield all the way back through the woods back through yonder. But it's been setting now for 20-something years, and these pines have come up in here. And I'm going to actually have a trackhoe come in here shortly and take up some of these pine trees so we can have a little bit larger cornfield. Now, we're not going to be as big as it was in the beginning, but we do want a little bit larger than what we have here. But now the owners had planted some blueberries here whenever they got to be too old to do the farm, and I'm not going to move them. I'm going to just leave them in the garden spot, because when we fertilize the garden, it'll also fertilize the blueberries and stuff. So what our plans are today is on the left-hand side next to the wood lot here. Now we got to do some limb trimming and all that later on, but potatoes don't require as much as other vegetables do. So we're going to plant on the left-hand side of the blueberries our potatoes this year. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to eventually get this where this is all corn. And we're going to be planting Danny corn this year. And hopefully, guys, pray with me that this year we get a good harvest. I believe we will. We own the new property. I believe it's going to happen this year. Okay, guys, we have the soil sample sent off, and it hasn't come back yet because guess what? The state of Mississippi said there's an issue with getting some parts for a particular machine they need that's going to take up to a month to get our soil sample back. So I'm like cringing, but I said, you know what? It's probably a month before we actually plant our actual garden. And lime and stuff like that's not going to work for 3 months anyway, so it's no real big deal. And we don't need lime or anything on potatoes because potatoes needs a little bit slight acidic type soil. So what we're going to be doing is this cultivator here. Now the kind of potatoes we're planting don't need to be bedded up. These are the French fingerlings. They don't have to be bedded up. The Purple Majesties don't have to be bedded up. You just make a nice little crown in the ground, plant them. That's all they need. But now when it comes to the red Lesotas and the red Pontiacs that we get, yes, they will need to be bedded up. And we will use this plow to plant them, and then we'll come back with our disc killers and we'll heal them up. But for right now, this setup right here is all that we really need. And what I have is I have a bull tongue in the middle. I have two 6-inch shovels, half shovels on the inside of that. And then I have two sweeps out behind that. And we are set on a 48-inch spacing. Now, I'm not going to be using the cub on this particular, on the potatoes or anything like that. I'll strictly be sticking with the Kubota doing the potatoes. So it's going to be set up on a 4-foot setting, which is perfectly fine. The cub is a 41-inch setting. So we're not worried about that. Now, when we do the corn, hopefully we're going to have the cub over here and we'll do all it with the cub. But right now, we're just using the Kubota. Okay guys, this is the main bunch of what we have here is the French fingerlings. Miss Wanda's been running through here clipping most of them. We got to clip them off a little bit more, but we're just trying to get them where we can manage them because that's a pile of long tops that came off of them. And then we have some odds and ends here. We've got some white Russian fingerlings here. We've got it looks like a Kennebec white right there. And then we have some of our own that we've been saving here at Deepsouth Homestead for years, of the red Lesotas right here. So we'll probably start off with these and then we'll come back behind them with the Purple Majesties. Because these potatoes have started to wrinkle a little bit, we're not going to be doing any chitting of them or cutting them to cure or anything because they're already getting a little wrinkles in them and stuff like this, and we've learned that they don't do well. It's best to put the whole potato in the ground. We're going to try to get them in there and get them going. Now, one thing you want to learn about new ground like this that's been an old farm before and planting potatoes, and we'll have to watch this, and we may have a problem with it this year, will be wire worms, because this was a pasture and grass and everything, and wire worms love to live in grass and old pastures and stuff. So we may have a little bit of a problem this year with wire worms in our potatoes, but hopefully we won't. Okay, I'm coming down one side, hoeing the dirt over on my potatoes. And then I'm going back getting my garden rake, coming back because this is new ground and it's got some grass in it. I'm taking the rake and raking the grass out to the middles of the rows out here so it won't be on top of the potatoes. Whew, all right guys, we got two 150-foot rows done. We actually have room for one more. We run out of taters, so we'll be going to town when they get some in, and we'll probably get 5 or 6 pounds of the other ones and cut them up and plant them over on that other side. So we actually have 3 different varieties here. We'll have our purples, our French fingerlings, and then I believe it'll probably be red Lesotas or red Pontiacs we'll have over there. And that will give us a good bit of taters for this year, guys.
And we hope to share with family and friends, and
yeah,
that was our whole purpose.
That's the whole purpose behind this thing. And And, you know, working this new ground like this, it takes a little bit more effort because you got grass in it out there where we tilled all this up. You can see in the background back there that was grass all over all this, and we tilled it. And we had to do an extra process. We had to cover with the hoe and then come back with a rake and rake the top of the row off and get the grass off of it and throw it out in the middle of the row where it'll be dying. Probably take a year or so of doing this before we actually get this plot to where it doesn't really have any grass to deal with on a large scale anyway. So, okay guys, for those of you who are starting with new property, and you're either gonna have one of two things. You're either gonna have old pasture or you're gonna have woods. It's gonna be one of the two. And whichever one it is, if it's old pasture, then you're gonna have to deal with it like I did. You're gonna have to turn the grass under, do it in the winter time preferably where it'll die, and then if you got woods, you'll have to have it pushed and cleared, and then you'll have to contend with roots and things to this nature. So it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge in the beginning than in the end, but it's well worth it. And when you have new ground like this, this is the kind of ground, let me say this, when I was a kid, this is the kind of ground that farmers looked for to grow watermelons on. They wanted watermelons on old Bahia grass fields. They'd turn the Bahia grass under and come in, plow that sucker up and plant those watermelons in there behind it and grew the best watermelons you've ever seen. So just a little heads up on that. It's just going to be a little bit of a work, you know, and it's worth it in the long run. So here at Pecan Grove, we're working on restoring an old farm. Thank you guys.